Kobe wanted to win a title without Shaquille O'Neal. Shaq's Lakers won 3 straight titles as O'Neal was the Finals MVP in each series. After the 2003 season, O'Neal was traded after the Lakers lost to the Detroit Pistons. In 2006, O'Neal won his 4th championship with the Miami Heat and Dwayne Wade. Meanwhile, the Lakers had another bad year. After the 2006-2007 season, Bryant and the Lakers were at odds. It was so high that the Lakers allegedly tried a deal for LeBron James. Imagine a world where LeBron joined the Lakers around this time. It would have transformed the NBA forever. Here are the details for the never-ending blockbuster. Let's get right into it. At number 5, the trade details. The Los Angeles Lakers would receive LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers would receive Kobe Bryant. When O'Neal won his 4th championship, it heightened Bryant's feeling of urgency. He needed to demonstrate that he could win a championship without him. The Lakers were coming off a 42-40 season and a first-round playoff loss. Bryant was scoring at a high and entertaining pace, which kept fans in the stadium, but he believed the Lakers were only exploiting him to fill seats and not win a championship. Bryant was so agitated for change that there were rumors that he was looking for a trade to get out of LA. The Lakers took a call from the Cleveland Cavaliers, who were looking for a new face for the league. At the time, James was 22 years old and had recently led a limited squad to the NBA Finals, where he averaged 25, 8, and 8 during the club's postseason run. According to ESPN's Brian Windhorst, the Cavaliers remember this deal fondly because it was the only time a club approached them about trading for LeBron. This was a historic moment in NBA history because it involved 2 of the game's best talents in the last 15 years. At the time, James demonstrated that he possessed the ability to lead a team to the finals even in the absence of a second superstar. He could take over for Bryant, who was the face of the Lakers and the league, while also giving the organization a chance to compete at the highest level. At number 4, Bryant said no. There was one key stumbling block in this transaction. Bryant's contract included a no-trade clause. At the time, the Lakers were close to trading Bryant to the Pistons, but that deal was also rejected. The Pistons were not one of the teams that Bryant preferred to be traded to. Neither were the Cavaliers, according to legend. Bryant would not have had a better chance of winning a championship if he had joined the Cavaliers. Bryant would have faced a difficult situation given that he still had 2 seasons left on his contract. Without a genuine chance of contending, Bryant may have painted himself as even more of a villain, while James, who had 3 more years on his deal, may have seen the Lakers make moves to surround him with players capable of living up to the Lakers' name. At number 3, the Lakers' projected lineup if trade happened. At point guard, Derek Fisher, shooting guard, Luke Walton, small forward, LeBron James, power forward, Ronnie Turiaf, and center, Kwame Brown. The Lakers had not made a deal for Pau Gasol at the start of the season. That was completed before the trade deadline. Consider what would happen if the Lakers made the same move for Gasol when James was still on the roster. You're referring to a possible pairing similar to the one the Cavaliers formed with Kevin Love. A combination of Derek Fisher at point guard and these 2 starts could have resulted in a similar ending in the 2008 NBA Finals. It would have come down to whether or not Phil Jackson continued as coach. Would James have been able to run the triangle offense? We witnessed later in Jackson's career as an executive that not all players and systems work well together. Bryant was able to run that offense, and the combination of Bryant and Gasol was capable of winning a championship. Would it have been the same if James had been there instead? At number 2, the Cavaliers' projected lineup if the trade happened. At point guard, Daniel Gibson, shooting guard, Kobe Bryant, small forward, Larry Hughes, power forward, Drew Gooden, and at center, Zydrunas Ilgauskas. This is the starting lineup if Bryant suits up for the Cavaliers. With that considered, it's intriguing to consider what Bryant could have accomplished with this lineup instead of the Lakers. Bryant was never a fan of Kwame Brown's game, and the 2 were unable to work together. Ilgauskas played his final season in 2007 through 2008. The following season, Mo Williams was also acquired and went on to become an All-Star. The real question is whether Bryant can beat the Boston Celtics with this group. In the same offseason, the Celtics added Kevin Garnett and Ray Allen. James just made it through the Celtics when he joined the Miami Heat, so it's difficult to assume that he could have made it through again. And at number 1, the aftermath. Let's start with some hypotheticals. The Lakers attempted to work out a trade with the Chicago Bulls, but were unable to reach an agreement because the Lakers wanted Luol Deng and Bryant refused to go to Chicago unless Deng stayed. The Lakers and Pistons then agreed to a trade that was expected to include Tayshaun Prince and Richard Hamilton. But Bryant turned it down because Detroit was not one of his preferred teams. Bryant eventually stayed with the team, which worked out well for both the franchise and Bryant. The Lakers acquired Pau Gasol during the trade deadline, kicking off a 3-year streak of making the NBA Finals. The Lakers lost to the Big Three in 2008, but returned to the Finals in 2009 and 2010, winning both times with Bryant as the Finals MVP. There was speculation in 2009 that James and Bryant would have met in the NBA Finals. After witnessing Bryant win regular season and Finals MVP in 2008, James earned MVP in 2009 and 2010, but was unable to lead the club to the Finals. The Orlando Magic stunned Cleveland in the 2009 playoffs before losing in the Finals to the Los Angeles Lakers. In 2008, 2009, and 2010, James tried his hardest to bring the Cavaliers back to the Finals, but it never occurred. This resulted in the decision in the 2010 summer when James left for the Miami Heat to join Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. The rest, as they say, is history. After the 2018 NBA Finals, James would join the Lakers and help them win the 2020 championship when he was voted Finals MVP. One of the most significant what-if possibilities is the trade scenario. During the 2000s and 2010s, NBA fans debated who was better. It could have been the largest blockbuster transaction of our lifetime. Well guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so that you never miss a video. We'll see you guys next time.